Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of I Am Christina DiArcangelo. Some people might say most of our episodes are special based on all the different guests that I interact with in my professional and personal lifetime. But today, I'm really excited. We're shooting a podcast in honor of my father, Albert J. DiArcangelo Sr. It's important to say senior because there were two of them, my brother as well. My father, for most of the viewers and listeners, passed away October 13th, 2015 from stage 4 liver, lung, and stomach cancers. And so today, I have one of his friends, also my friend and colleague, John, to talk to me today about some of the things that he interacted with my dad over the years about, and maybe some of the, lessons or impressions that he left up, on him within his lifetime. Welcome, John.
Hey, how are you today? And thank you, everyone. And I really want to say thank you to Christina, because this is, it's special to me. You know, your father, as you know, was just a special person. And he came into my life in a really difficult time. You know, like I was telling you earlier, I really think you really have a hard time finding yourself when you're 18 and 21, I went to college. I got myself into trouble. I was a little bit of a drinker and a fighter, and I got kicked out of school. And my father was an old Frank Rizzo cop, kind of like your pop. Just that stern, good guy, just to, heart of gold, but he's going to tell you how it is, So I come home and my pop's like, listen, my son, there's three things that are going to happen here. You're either going to go to work, you're going to go back to school, or you're going to the military, but you're not going to be sitting on that couch sleeping every day. So I tried to go back to school. I had a high school sweetheart I got engaged to. She was a very great girl, and a lot of things going on at that time between a relationship and trying to find yourself. And here I got the Turnpike job. I worked 2 years summer help here in college in the Trevos, and I got transferred to D-Ball. And a lot of the Trevos guy goes, hey, it's a lot of the same, but it's not the same. First day, who do I meet? Your pop, Al DiArcangelo Sr. And it was a match made in heaven. It really was. He looked at me, I looked at him. We were kind of scoping each other out. I'm the city guy coming into a suburb shed. I find out he's a New Jersey Devil fan, that we're all Flyer fans there. I mean, he's like the Antichrist. He took me under his wing, and he was just an outstanding man. And he's like, son, what do you want to do with your life? You're going to be a bum? You're a worker? He kind of took me under his wing, kind of like that mentor, coach, father figure, best buddy. And it was really a great relationship. He really, he's dear to me. I believe a lot of my success is what Al gave me. He gave me the building blocks to be a better person, to be a better employee, and just to be a better person. Be a straight shooter. Don't be a bull crapper. You know what I mean? And you got a lot of that, Christina. You know that.
Yeah.
Look how you're structured. Look how we get along so well.
Yeah.
Because we're in our faces. We're honest. We're truthful.
That's absolutely right. And, regardless of whether or not I do a corporate job, you have a corporate job now, but you started off blue collar. I grew up blue collar. My heart is blue collar, even though I don't do a blue collar job. It's how I was raised. So My work ethic is very different, I feel, than a lot of my colleagues who grew up in a white collar environment, because I feel like we work harder. No offense to my white collar brought up people, but I feel like we've seen a lot of different things in our lifetime, that was shown before us. And we were taught that you work hard because, listen, the United States was built on the backs of the blue collar people. Let's just call it a spade.
Yeah, you're right. And like I said, I think that the biggest thing that your father left me was never forget where you came from. Don't ever forget that. It's a struggle, Christy. Nobody gave us anything, and nobody gives you that playbook to say, hey, this is how your life's going to go, and it's going to be A, B, C, D, and E. We got our goods, we got our bads, and we got our uglies. And I think what defines you is, what your dad instilled in us is you pick yourself up and you move forward. Your dad was a very strong, good-hearted person. I just remember him, you know, he would never tell us how sick he really was, but we knew. We would never want you to know. And he would get cancer treatment on a Monday and be back in work on Tuesday on a jackhammer. Who does that? Al DiArcangelo. Because he wanted to show you he didn't forget where he came from, and regardless of what obstacles he had in his life, the work was never going to subside. He was going to keep it up.
You know what was crazy, and I don't know if my dad ever disclosed this to you, so I apologize if you already know this, but I just thought it was important to mention here, is that you said he remembered where he came from, and that's why he always worked so hard and showed up the next day. Well, when his mom was pregnant with him, he was the last one. Okay. Wow. And so he was the youngest boy out of the DiArcangelos. And my oldest uncle, as you know, passed away already in 2018. And the middle one is still alive, Pat. And then now, you know, obviously my dad passed before Uncle Artie did. And I ended up advocating for him and helping him when he was starting to transition, similarly to what I did with my father and why I started the nonprofit Affinity Patient Advocacy. But one of the things that happened to him when he was in vitro was my grandfather didn't want my dad. He didn't want him. He didn't want another child. He had a bad marriage with my grandmother. They both drank too much, and he threw her down the stairs and tried to kill my father.
Wow.
And my dad lived. And that was something that haunted him, you know, like with the cancer and things of that nature. When I would spend one-on-one time with him, as you know, like I tried to spend as much as like time as I could with him, but I lived in California, I lived in North Carolina, I came back here, you know, and then he got sick again. And then I was trying to help him with that. And then boom, my career just boomed, you know, and so I was trying to do all that stuff. I got married and had a kid. And so, you know, luckily dad was here for all those things, but there were times that he would talk about that stuff, like some of the dark times that he had. He would talk about that with me, especially at the end, you know, when it was just him and I in the hospital. I would sit in there and like on my laptop work, and he would talk when he felt like talking. And when he didn't feel like talking, we could sit in quiet and listen to my Pandora Stylistics channel.
I love it. I love it.
Which is still on my Pandora, you know, because I miss him all the time. But like, see, there's a piece of him that you didn't even know. Nah. So when you said that, I wanted to see if you knew that about him, because that was one of his driving factors. He always needed to show, even though his parents had passed, that he was better and that he was somebody and he helped people. He gave people a voice from a labor perspective when they didn't have one.
You're right. He just knew, he just had that oomph. Christine, listen to me. I did security a lot in my life with clubs and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm a good people person. You know, I can really, you know, look at somebody and figure out in 5 minutes if they're good or bad, if they're a good or bad person. It's like he had that gift. He had that gift. And, you know, I was in his company a few times out to dinner. And Christina, the way he handles himself, it just reminded me of my grandfather. It just, the black sambuca. Yeah. The hand gestures, the gold, all the gold, the black, the Anye shoes. And he just was like, it's just a great, like, you know, people could, and this is the thing, you either loved Al or hate Al. There was no middle. No. There was no middle. No. I think that's kind of like us. You either love us or hate us. Right. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Like, we don't have time. I said this to my wife the other night. We don't have time for BS. No. Like, we get an incident or a problem. Christine, that's our job. We fix things. And that's what your father was. Your father, they would come to your father with a labor issue, or with a work issue. Yeah, job issue. He's not even the boss. He's telling the boss how to, remember Camille? Yeah. Oh my God. And your dad, like I said, he just figured stuff out. He was a problem solver. Yes, he was. You know, And I always liked that about him. He was my friend and he was family.
Yep.
You know, he's got that special place in my heart. And, you know, you said that your dad died in 2015 and it doesn't seem like that. And I'm going to probably get emotional here, but he's with me every day. You know what I mean? Like, he really is. Like, when I'm here, I think about him. When I'm at work, I think about him. You know what I mean? And he left it, like I said, he really left a great mark on me. And I'm a better person for knowing your father. I really believe that.
I appreciate you saying that. And I feel like our jobs is to carry forward his legacy, right? You're doing it still on the Turnpike every day. That was his home. He was so proud when he got that Turnpike job. And I have his helmet. I should have brought it over here today. I just didn't even think about it, but I have his helmet. Remember the one he used to wear with the devil that was on? Boy. I have it here. So when he passed away, you know, everybody started reaching out, you know, because I released that he passed away when he passed away so that everybody knew that he passed away. And I remember Valentine reached out to me and said, let's have breakfast. I know this is a tough time, but let's have breakfast and I have something for you.
Wow.
And he gave me the helmet. And so that sits in my office and it's on a bookshelf that I can see with one of the pictures they took at the shop back in the day with him kneeling down. You probably know this picture. I have that and his helmet that sits in my office every day. And then I have a wall of fame. I have Babe Ruth over here when I bought him a Babe Ruth picture. I have What a Wonderful World inscribe that I bought him, like a little art thing that I bought him one year for Father's Day because that was my ringtone when I called him, and you know he was a cheap bastard. So for him to buy it,
I love him.
He would die about all the diamonds and the bling, you know, my sparkly DiArcangelo pumpkin. Be like, you're spending too much money, kid. What are you doing? Save your money for the rainy days.
I bought him a Jersey Devil hat. It was a red one with a black rim, right?
I remember
he goes, hey, you know why I like this hat? I said, no, just because you bought it for me. And he goes, because you lost on a bet. And that's what happened. The Jersey Devils beat the Flyers in a game. And I said, listen, hat for hat. If I win, you buy me Flyers hat. If you win, I buy you a Jersey Devils. He goes, this makes this hat so much perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He loved it. He just, oh God, the stuff. And your dad being a psychologist for half of these guys here, what a bunch of wackos we are. You know, your dad says, if I could write a book, I'd have a bestseller here. He goes, "These are all a bunch of cuckoo birds." Yeah, that's what his favorite word was.
Cuckoo birds. And chooch. Yeah. Don't be a chooch.
Yeah, don't be a chooch. Oh my God. Some of the stories though, oh my God. Just a great, like I said, I got great memories, Chris. Like I really do. Like he was that, like it's crazy how much effect he had on so many people there over the years. Mm-hmm. You know, the Mattiotas, the Terry McGowan, the Chuck Christies, the Jimmy Spadutis. Like your dad was just, he was the guy. He was the guy. He just had the oomph. I can't explain it.
Yeah, he was. He never gave up, and he always wanted to help people. And even still at the steel company, he received calls from some of the retirees. I'm sure you remember this too, because it would happen on the job sometimes where they had problems with their pension or something was messed up. And he, would still help them because that's what he did. He wanted to make sure everybody was protected and cared for, especially the spouses, of the people who passed away that he worked with. How many funerals did he go to make sure that he was there to support the family, and he was a class act. And then, you remember when I was living in California, he would come and visit me. He loved to visit California and he would come out and do sessions on the art of listening in the pharmaceutical industry, trying to teach these people to listen. Because, no offense to my pharma colleagues, I've said it plenty of times, they don't always listen. I used to be one of those people that thought I fucking knew it all. Pardon me, Rye Russell. That's my EPD. But it's true. I thought I knew everything until I saw what I saw with my father, eye to eye, with all these patients, seeing the mayhem and the chaos that these people go through, and they don't have help. They only know what they know, and that only gets you so far, So just seeing all these things, over the years, and then his last bit of time on earth, which is, we're coming up to when he finally passed, 7 years ago today. He had a big varice blow and was back in Phoenixville Hospital. And I went with Christian, and the Pope was here. Do you remember when the Jubilee happened? Oh my God, he loved the Pope. And so here he brings the Philly Inquirer with him as he's going under his arm. You know how he would, under his arm, as he's going into the ER, he's vomiting blood. He has a tub of blood, that he's going in with. He has the paper under his arm. He's holding the tub, and my mom drops him off, and he wanted the paper because there was an 8x10 color picture of the Pope in the Philly Inquirer. So he knew I would come down to see him and make sure everything was okay later that day. Once they fixed, they put the bands in there to stop the bleeding that was happening. And I went down with Krish, and I remember, obviously, he couldn't eat very much because he kept blowing out, from the liver not working, the heart, the blood wasn't going back and forth properly, and they would explode, these veins. And he saved Christian Jello and pudding. Now, Krish was 3.5 at the time. So that's what they did. They ate the Jello and the pudding all the time, even when my dad was well. So here he brought that Philadelphia Inquirer, because when I got in there and we're comfortable and stuff, Christian's sitting on the bed with him, talking to him. He says, Christina, open up the newspaper. So I open up the newspaper. I go, yeah, Dad, what? He goes, get that picture. So I get the picture, and it's the Pope. He says, hand that to Christian. So I hand it to Christian, and he says, now, Christian, this is yours. I saved this for you. This should go in your room in a frame. Your mom will put it in a frame for you, but I want you to take this home with you. So here he is, blowing up. He remembers enough to grab the newspaper because he wanted to make sure that Christian got this picture, because he knew this would be the last thing that he would give Christian while he was still alive.
Wow.
Krish has, and Christian has this. I framed it obediently because, I listened to what he told me to do. And I framed it, and it sits on his wall. As you come into his bedroom, it's right there. There's my race car pictures up there. There's a locker room for the Yankees. DiArcangelo is in there.
I love it.
The Pope picture is in there. So Christian, fell in love with the Pope, and we're Baha'i now. So, and so, he had a stuffed Pope. He would carry his little Pope around with him. We still have the stuffed Pope. He loved the Pope because my pop wanted to make sure that he had that influence before he passed away.
That's unbelievable, man. Like I said, it just never shocks me with him, and like the way we reconnected, me being sick, and just things like that. It's just an unbelievable. He's here all the time, Christine. Like I said, I really think I picked up a sister with you, talking to you and getting me through my stuff. You picked up where your father left off with me, and it's, to me, that's special, Christy, because he was so special to me, and the way he spoke about you and my relationship with. So to have this relationship with you is really a great thing for me. I really want you to experience my wife and daughter and my 2 boys. I really would love to see your son and really let him experience the farm. Yes. I think your father would probably be laughing his butt off up there at us, enjoying you and your son on a farm.
Yes. Yes.
They're the things that would make me really feel good.
Yeah, I would love it. You see, I miss him so much, and I love my brother. We all loved, AJ, but he had a lot of problems, finding out on his deathbed that he was schizophrenic when he was dying of COVID really wasn't a good look. I knew he was bipolar, but shit, schizophrenic. I remember calling you when it all went down before it hit because somebody leaked it, remember, on his side.
Yep.
And it was a disaster. And I had to call you out of respect because I didn't want you to find out about AJ dying on the internet from me releasing a public statement. But I miss that. Like, I don't have a whole lot of family left. You know what I mean saying? So like when you came to me too, it was so beneficial. This is a beneficial relationship we have because I also need those things. I need, sometimes I have tough times and I know that if it's bad enough, I can call you and say, listen to this. Does this seem right to you? And you'll give me your honest opinion. And sometimes a kick in the ass when I need it.
Yep. And that's what you're there for too. Like I said, I think you really came into a great part of my life and I was struggling there a little bit and it's weird. That's how I met your dad. I was struggling to try to find my way and it just weird stuff happens like that mirror image of you coming into my life, how your father did. Christine, tell me that ain't weird. Seriously, that's very strange.
I know it's so weird. And then some of the conversations that we've had that you've told me about stuff that I didn't know where I was suspicious about certain things, familial wise in my family.
Yep.
And then having that ability to be able to confirm like, hey, listen, does this make sense to you? Do you know anything about this?
Yep. You know what's weird with us? Our relationship, you would think that we knew each other for 30 years. Like I never got cautious with you. Oh my God, did I get off the phone? Did I say the wrong thing? We've always had a open relationship, and it's awesome. I love our relationship. I really do.
We've got to thank him for it because it's his reason why we're together, and he wanted us to be together because he probably knew that we needed to help each other. The families needed to come together again. That's what he was probably trying to do. And especially, I can't wait to meet your kids and your wife because Chris is also 9.5. He'll be 10. So he's a good age. He can play with the boys, your daughter. He's tough. But he's also empathetic and kind to females. So he loves girls. I mean, come on. He's a DiArcangelo. You see his necklaces and shit. Like, come on.
What was just funny was, I always look at this like, my wife goes like this to me the other day. We went to a horse event and the one lady's like, yeah, I don't know how my son's going to adjust. He doesn't like the dirt and all this stuff. And he's really not an outdoorsy guy. About 30 minutes, he's there making mud pies with my kid in the corner.
Of course.
Said, wow, that didn't last long, did it?
No.
I can't believe that's him.
Yeah. Just be a kid. Like, get away from your phone and your Nintendo Switch and whatever else you're doing and go out and play. That's one thing I know I've observed with your kids online, and my son, I've seen him out. They love to be outside. They're children, just like we were when we were raised. We were raised to be outside. You didn't come back inside until you were told to freaking come back inside. You stayed outside. There was no, oh, it's too hot. Oh, I'm tired. I want to sit on the couch. I need some comfort. No, there is no goddamn comfort. Get on your little bike and ride your bike. Go play some baseball, basketball, football, whatever the hell your heart's desire. Go swimming. You got everything.
Yep. Let me tell you something, and that's my wife is a big advocate for that. She does not let our kids stay in the house. You're going outside, you're going on the trampoline, you're going in the woods, you're working on the barn, you're doing something on the farm where you're staying active. And listen, what's crazy, Christine? Their friends and their girlfriends, they love coming to the farm because they love being outside. Yeah,
it's peaceful. Listen, being with one in nature, hey, I'm all for it. I love that stuff. Like just being outside, just taking, like I know you saw, we've been going to Cape May a lot. We're water signs. We love to be near the water, and we're just sitting on the beach, hanging out, him and I. And it's the best time running around the beach, throwing balls and stuff, just being outside with the environment is so nice.
Yeah. And I love it. Like, I really, I'll tell you though, if you ever would have told me 20 years ago, I'd be married to a cowgirl who loves horses, I would say you're crazy. Your father would probably be laughing his butt off.
Yeah.
This is shitty guy, married to a country pumpkin. You know what I mean? But and it's weird. And I got it. And listen to me. It takes a lot to get things going right in a family. And I'm lucky. I got a great partner. But hey, there were some tough rides there too.
Yeah.
Like your father got a lot of shit there too. You know what I mean?
My pop was in there with all this stuff with Pooler. And, what shook out in my marriage and, some of the things that he had to come and deal with. And I sometimes wonder if things would have been a little bit different if he'd still be here. Not that I'd still be married, but I'm just wondering if some of the things would have been a little easier for me. You know what I'm saying? He was alive, and so, that's been tough, like trying to do a lot of that stuff by myself, but it's because he made me who I am today. Like if I didn't have his blood running through my veins and his spirit and his heart, I wouldn't be as successful as I am, as strong as I am, getting knocked down, getting back up, getting knocked down all the time. And that's what we both share. There's so many things that you and I shared because of him. And we are so blessed to have that. And I'm so thankful that, we reconnected and, we've been able to talk and share some things that, sometimes we needed a little support with. And I really want to come to the farm during the fall with you guys because it's the best time to come, like the bonfire and all that stuff. Like, and we could have some good food. I like to eat.
Hey, there you go. And listen, I could smoke some good food, meat, seafoods.
Let's do it. Like, hey, listen, the Italianos, we like to eat.
I got some good homemade red wine too.
Yes, that's right. I remember. Remember the guy that was selling it?
Oh yeah, this is your father right here. Hey, Gooch, can you give me another bottle of wine? I'm a little empty.
A little empty. Yeah. And I would come home from Cali and first thing he would do is and Sue, we're going to have to wrap up because I know we're running a little bit over. Soonest things he would do is take me to the wine store. I needed to pick out some wine because remember, I would always teach him how to drink cost prohibitive wines that tasted like $1 million because I lived in California and I knew what I was doing and luckily had lots of friends and I just love wine. And then, so we would do that. And then I remember one time it was when the Jay-Z song came out, the first one, the New York song.
Oh, yeah.
And
I love it.
He's bopping and he was driving the Buick. He was driving the big gold Buick, right? My mom's Buick from my grandfather. He's bopping along and he's singing to the song and he looks at me and he goes, "Cagoots." And I was like, yeah, Pop, what? He goes, "Let me tell you something. I would do her when I was young. That's somebody." It's like, what? I was like, "Dad, come on." Like, oh my dear God, like, where's the filter? Where's the filter? I'm not AJ, I'm Chrissy. Like, but I was the most like him. So I understand.
You are, girl.
And then you sent me the song one time and I needed it. I was having a bad time. That was when stuff was falling out in March. Yep. And you sent Aprilish and you sent that to me. And I was like, oh, it's like, you knew, like, I got to send this to her. And I was driving with Christian and I was so like consumed in my mind with what was happening. And you sent that and I hit it and I listened to it. I was like, thank you. And that's when I wrote you right away. I was like, I needed this so much. I just needed that, like, keep going. Don't give up.
Yep. Keep striving and keep pushing forward. Pick yourself up and move forward. Yep.
Keep push it.
He wouldn't want it any other way.
No.
I'm telling you, he would not want you to get down on yourself. He'd want you to somehow pick yourself up and get out of it. You know what I mean? Really, that was his way. And he, I really think that structured me for a good working relationship and a good relationship at home. Yeah. Because guess what? Christina, my kids ask me stuff. I don't lie to them.
No.
They asked me about marijuana. They asked me about drinking. They asked me about, I said, guys, listen to me. There's one thing I will never do is bullshit you and lie to you and give you false information, because how are you ever going to trust me? I'm your father.
That's right.
Trust me. I'm going to blow smoke up your butt because I feel uncomfortable having this conversation. No, if you're old enough to come to me and ask these questions, guess what? You're old enough to hear the correct answer. And the honest answer says that's not, the right thing or the wrong thing, but we'll get by. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're going to know that when they ask me a question, they're going to get the honest answer.
Yep. There's no bullshitting. He used to say, don't snow the snowman, right? Don't bullshit the bullshitter. That was one thing that he stood firm on. And that's the same freaking way I'm raising Christian. There's no lying. There's none of that stuff. It's truth. That's all. We have to live by our truth, integrity. That's it. That's all we have at the end of the day.
Yep.
All right, my friend, we better wrap up. Thank you so much.
I love you, girl.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for this. And I'm honored. I really am. And like I said, I am truly blessed that I had Al DiArcangelo in my life and you in my life, girl. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm so blessed to have you in my life, our life, Thank you again for being on today, taking time out of your busy schedule to shoot with me and being on. Remember, as we always say, we are the same. I am Christina DiArcangelo. Thank you.